Thank you for joining me on the journey. This is Completed Christianity. So, more evidence that the dietary laws, they were not abolished in Scripture. They were not done away with in Scripture. And this evidence is going to come pretty easy. When we talk about the abolishment of the dietary laws, scholars, depending on when you ask them or what the context of the conversation is, they'll say, oh, well, it was done away with at the cross. Or, well, in Mark 7, that Messiah declared all foods clean. Well, the problem with that is that a particularly glossed over passage in Acts 10, Peter says that he's never eaten anything common or unclean in Acts 10. So which is it then? This doctrine, it doesn't even agree with itself. It's at the cross, or it's before the cross, or it's after the cross. It doesn't mesh. And the reason it is because it's a made up doctrine. It's a made up doctrine that has no basis in Scripture. And let's take a look at the verses. So, Mark 7:18. And he said to them, are you also without understanding? Do you not perceive that whatever enters a man from outside is unable to defile him? But it does not enter his heart, but his stomach, and is eliminated, thus purging all foods. So as we talked about before, this passage, in most modern translations, it adds a phrase after thus purging all foods. It says, by declaring this, he declared all foods clean. And this is just an added verse that is put in to add to the deception. So we have this verse that we already discussed. So we flip forward to Acts chapter 10. So Acts chapter 10. And this is when Cornelius sends the men to Peter to request Peter come to Cornelius' house, which is basically a forbidden thing for a Jew in the first century Judaism under the rabbinical Pharisaic Judaism. And when the messenger who spoke to him went away, Cornelius called 2 of his household servants and a dedicated soldier from among those who waited on him continually. And having explained to them all, he sent them to Jaffa. And on the next day, as they were on their way and approaching the city, Kepha, or Peter, went up on the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became hungry and wished to eat. But while they were preparing, he fell into a trance. And he saw the heaven open, and a certain vessel like a great sheet bound at the 4 corners, descending to him, and let down to earth, in which were all kinds of 4-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping creatures, and birds of the heaven. And a voice came to him, rise, Kepha, slay and eat. But Kepha said, not at all, master, because I have never eaten whatever is common or unclean. And a voice came to him a second time, what Elohim has cleansed, you do not consider common. And this took place 3 times, and the vessel was taken back up to heaven. And while Kepha was doubting within himself about what the vision might mean, look, men who had been sent from Cornelius, having asked for the house of Simon, stood at the gate. And calling out, they inquired whether Simon, or Shimon, also known as Kepha, was staying there. And as Kepha was thinking about the vision, the Spirit said to him, see, 3 men seek you, but rise, go down, and go with them, not doubting at all, for I have sent them. So right here, in this passage, we see Peter says, I've not eaten anything common or unclean. So why didn't Peter get the memo from Mark 7 that all foods were declared clean? As we said before, in their culture and in their understanding, if it wasn't clean, it wasn't food. So pig's not food, lobster's not food, none of that stuff is food. So right here, we see that Peter hasn't got the memo. This is 10 to 20 years after the resurrection, and Peter is still saying, and this is his defense before the master. This is his defense that he's never eaten anything unclean. He's being told, rise, kill and eat these things. And he says, He says, I've never eaten whatever's uncommon or unclean. So these dietary laws that scholars want to tell us are done away at the cross, or done away in Mark 7, it didn't happen. So then someone want to say, well, here then it happens because he's told to rise, kill, and eat. So that means it's okay to eat them. No, because in a vision typically doesn't mean what you see. And in the end, what the vision was about was that he should go with these men at the end here, not doubting at all, for I have sent them. Go and go with him. The vision was about that he should go with these men, for I have sent them. So how did this make sense? It doesn't make sense to us. But how did this make sense to Peter? Because after the vision, he's thinking about what it could mean. Because he knows it doesn't mean eat these unclean animals. Because he knows that goes against Yahweh's already established law. And that it's a sin to eat unclean animals. It's an abomination to eat unclean animals. He knows this. So he knows that's not what it means. But he can't figure it out. But when he's told about these men and knowing who these men are, now he gets it. And in Acts, he gives us the interpretation twice in the book of Acts. And that it was about the men that had been made clean. Because the Pharisees, the rabbis, had created a doctrine that there were these particular Gentiles in particular that they had declared to be dogs and unclean beasts. So what has he shown? Dogs and unclean beasts. So they were declared dogs and unclean beasts. And so right there, Peter gets it. He sent these dogs and unclean beasts, and he's supposed to go with them. And then he ends up being invited to eat with them. And a lot of people have taught that, see, that's proof that it was clean, that he goes and he eats with the Gentiles. Well, that doesn't mean that they're eating unclean things, because even you don't, if you haven't got this revelation yet, you don't always eat something that's unclean. You'll eat beef, or you'll eat chicken, or you'll eat turkey. And these men are inviting Peter, a Jew. Cornelius is inviting him to his house to eat. He's not going to serve something that's unclean to a Jew that he's invited. I mean, come on. We gotta think better than that. Psalm 89:34. My covenant I will not break, nor alter the word that has gone out of my lips. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you have a comment down below. Comments of opposition are welcome. Just don't say anything dumb like we're not under the law, we're under grace, because you've been taught to use that outside of the bounds of its intended context. Subscribe now. And hit the bell icon, or head over to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on the next video.